Welcome to Doug in Exile. Marjorie Taylor Greene goes after these D.C. bureaucrats claiming there's no crime problem in Washington, D.C.
Chairman Mendelson said there is not a crime crisis in Washington, D.C. An hour later on the D.C. Police Department Twitter, alert, shooting investigation in the 3000 block of...
Literally during this hearing of them debating on if there's a crisis or not, a shooting happens in Washington, D.C.
There's been a double homicide, I believe, is being investigated right now here in D.C. Chairman Mendelson, do you stay with your statement that there is not a crime crisis in Washington, D.C.?
Absolutely. And as I said in my opening statement,
why do they all talk like this when you cut to them? This is supposed to be a tough on crime. Remember Mayorkas when they go to him and they're all, this is the bureaucrat way of talking. I sound like I use a stapler all day.
it is concerning, and there are folks who believe that crime has gotten worse. But when you look statistically, 10 years ago, crime's down 45%.
This is just statistic hunting, where you find the lowest point in history and the highest point in history that benefit you, and you state that thing. So you go last 10 years, or you go, crime's down from the last 2 years, or crime is down from 100 years ago.
Go back to the 1990s, 400 homicides.
Chairman Mendelson, this is 2023. We aren't back in the 1900s. This is 2023 in Washington, D.C., and there is a crime crisis in Washington.
Marjorie Taylor Greene gets him up to today, which is what they're talking about. And there's a crime crisis. And all they're doing is renaming streets after celebrities to virtue signal.
This is your tweet where it shows here that the D.C. City Council is more interested in renaming streets than doing anything about crime.
And painting a big old rainbow on the street.
I'd also like to point out the Rand Paul staffer that was stabbed in the head in broad daylight here in our nation's capital. I'm from Northwest Georgia, and when visitors come to our capital, I have to warn them about the amount of crime and how dangerous the city streets are here in Washington, D.C., because it's completely out of control.
I wonder what party runs that city.
You know, lying about how insane crime is not a problem here doesn't cover it up. And saying that you support the police or funding the police doesn't change the fact that there is a lack of police officers here because they don't feel the support here in the city.
This is no different than Mayorkas claiming that, remember, he was saying there's no problem here at the border. And now they're saying there's no crime in D.C. And even though it's blatantly obvious, they won't admit it. They get away with you know what because the press covers for them. Culture covers for them. And meanwhile, people are getting just destroyed. This is the compassionate party. They're full of garbage. Democrats do not care.
This all relates to the number of police we have on the department. We cannot fulfill the demand. We cannot respond to the 911 calls. We cannot get to the people who are requesting our assistance from us. And when we get to the scene, there's not enough officers to properly handle it. We don't have enough detectives to investigate these cases. And then when we are, the criminal justice system is failing us. And all of this can be traced back to the policies that the City Council has passed. And in addition to that, the rhetoric that they've used. Police officers do not want to work in an environment where their elected officials are treating them like garbage.
Yeah, that's Washington, D.C. The Democrats on City Council treat them like, that is, they treat the criminals like they're innocent, and they treat the police like they're criminals. We all know it. And then the job, suddenly they can't fill the job. So what else is that like? Remember, the military is down 25% in recruitments because they treat the military like garbage. Who wants to join the military? Who wants to be a cop in Washington, D.C.? Are you crazy?
And that's why they're leaving. They're going to other jurisdictions. As everyone has said here today, there's a crisis in law enforcement. These officers can go anywhere. They can I'd be surprised if you told me about a law enforcement agency somewhere in this country that was not hiring. So these officers are phenomenal officers. They have a resume. They can literally go anywhere they want. And to that extent, you've heard Mr. Mendelson and Mr. Allen both say that this is a national issue. Well, the reason it's a national issue is because the same rhetoric and the same types of legislation have been passed all over the country, which is why all of these major cities are having these same problems.
All run by Democrats. See, it's not just the problem of high crime. The major cities are having a problem with police running away. They do not feel the backup. They're going elsewhere, which will make the crime in the cities worse. Good one, Democrats.
And the fact is, until they start respecting their employees and start treating police officers correct, we're not going to get ourselves out of this mess anytime soon.
Yeah, until the Democrats treat them with respect, you're not going to get out of this mess. They will not treat you and the police with respect, or our military, so we will not get out of this mess anytime soon. Like, subscribe, and share. Leave your comments below, because it's more important to me what you think. This is the place where you talk, even if you disagree. Unlike the people of the other party, I won't censor your speech. I'm Doug in Exile.